everyone, this is Nicole Watson with Donna Downey's Artist Gang Tuesday. Join me today as we use Donna's stencils to heat emboss cards and then add watercolor. Grab your supplies. I couldn't decide between Donna's Blossom number 2 or number 3, so we're using both this week. It is important that you grab hot press watercolor paper because it is smooth and has less tooth. Also, make sure you re-ink your Versamark or other watermark ink pads so it's nice and juicy. Keep baby wipes handy to clean up embossing powder and your stencils. Next, chop your paper in half for easy embossing. The general process is not much different than traditional heat embossing with a stamp. Instead of a stamp for the image, we're using one of Donna's stencils. Hold the stencil tight to the paper so it doesn't move and simply squish the ink pad through the holes. Then, spread on the embossing powder and then clean up the excess. I like to flick the back or use an old brush dedicated to embossing powder to clean off the excess around the image. Heat the powder until it melts. You should see the color change. It's sort of like magic. If you're like me, you probably have a lot of scrapbooking and card making supplies. This is a fun way to make unique cards combining old school card making and watercolor art. Don't throw away ones that you don't think emboss very well because even these look great once you add watercolor to them. Choose a variety of colors because then you can have even more fun as you watercolor in the next step. It is important to clean the sticky Versamark residue from your stencil. Simply scrub it off with a baby wipe. Now you can reset your work area for watercoloring. I like to layer my underpaper in several layers so that I can just remove them as they become dirty from the embossing. Any watercolors will work. I'm using Jane Davenport and Prima watercolor palettes, plus a few watercolor brushes in a variety of sizes. Don't forget water and a spray bottle for misting your palette or card. Now you can just have fun adding watercolor to your paper. Even though watercolor is forgiving, I like to start with light colors and then go to dark, and also remember that less is more. You can always add additional layers to fix areas you're not happy with. Donna likes to call this the dance, going back and forth, adding color, removing color, and making it how you want it to look. If you can't figure out what colors to add, I like to think about the color wheel. Complementary colors always look good. Analogous blend really well because they are next to each other on the color wheel. Make sure that you don't add colors that make mud. Warm colors all together, cool colors all together, a monochromatic look, all of them look really well. The messier the better. Even paint outside the lines. Pull color out as you're painting. I decided I wanted to use a complementary color scheme for this next one. Knowing that orange was the complement to blue, I also chose to use the colors next to it on the color wheel. This makes it more of an analogous pattern and really makes the blue and the orange pop. I thought it might be ugly, but then it turned out to be one of my favorites. The best advice I can give you is to just have fun and play. You'll never know which color combinations in the end will turn out to be your favorites. And there's always more paper and always more embossing powder. You can make more if you mess up, but I don't think you will. Here I'm going to go back in with another layer of color because this one just didn't stand out enough. I added some purple around the edges and some darker colors in the center to make this flower pop. This is the beauty of watercolor. You can keep layering and layering to get what you want it to look like as the colors blend together. Now it's time to splatter color all over your flowers. A little bit of splattering helps disguise some of those funny areas and adds a lot to the overall piece. You can also touch up some areas that need a little bit of darker color here and there. I'm always amazed at how different watercolor looks after it dries. Don't fret if you don't exactly like how it looks. Wait till it dries and you might be surprised at how beautiful your piece is. Now comes the hard part. It's not really that difficult, it just involves math and, well, cutting up your beautiful pieces of art. I'm trimming mine down to make card fronts for cards that are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 and square that are 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. I usually trim them down about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 of an inch, or you can do the math. Here I actually used the envelope to help me decide if I wanted to cut this into a square card or into a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card, which is also called an A2 size. I usually let the piece guide me as I trim off either the sides or the tops, knowing that I can always trim a little more if I need to. Grab a variety of colors of cardstock so you can pick the perfect color to layer underneath your front. Then add it to your base and create a stunning card. You can see how adding a simple colored layer behind your artwork really makes the piece stand out. I was surprised at some of the colors I ended up choosing that I would have never guessed looked great. Now you have a variety of cards for all different occasions. Next, I'll teach you how to add a sentiment to the front. Even if you don't want to add that now, you can always add it later. Using deli paper or this patty paper, you can stamp on it and then adhere it to the front of your card at a later date. Use a clear glue underneath or a simple washi tape. It's fun to cut out the sentiment and try it in all different places to find the perfect spot. If you stick it down on washi tape and don't like it, you can peel it back up and even put it on another card. This is the beauty of using the deli paper and washi. You don't have to worry about stamping and messing up the front of your card if you stamp on the deli paper, and you can add the perfect sentiment at a later date. I made a few thank you cards because I need to send them out. However, I'm going to keep the others without sentiments so I can add them in the future. Before you put away your watercolors, splatter some paint on the envelopes so they'll look even cuter in the mail. Thank you for joining me for this Artist Gang Tuesday. I'll see you next time.